Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video today. I have a very special message for anyone that came across this. Know, my friend, that you are the solution to any challenge you're facing with right now. When you focus back on what truly matters, what you're prioritizing right at this moment, the universe, you are the universe, will start expressing its highest qualities into the direction. So the stream of motion can flow towards where you are aiming, towards where you're looking at. So many people are facing with one of the biggest challenges right now, being too distracted. Their attention all over all kinds of different things that are happening on the world without noticing we're actually living in a simulation where everything depends on what you focus on and where you decide to grow, where you decide to evolve. The thing is that if you don't decide in what kind of area you truly want to become extraordinary, truly incredible, truly talented, truly skilled, you will be just jumping from one thing and another, and you will be like a leaf that is flowing around because of the wind, without having a sense of direction, without having a sense like you're truly building something. The universe requires focus, right? Otherwise, it's just a passive observer that is being blown around. The universe requires focus. That's why if we go into, let's say we go into ancient teachings of Bhagavad Gita, it's been said, focus is a cure for any mental disease. Why? Because mind without focus is only feminine chaos. Chaos is not a bad thing. Chaos is just a bunch of everything, right? Then it requires masculine energy of order, of focus. So you organize your thoughts, and it means that before you start your day, you already know what will you do in that day, right? You need to have a plan. When the universe was created, it had a plan, right? It was a plan. Firstly, there was sound, there was thought. Thought knew what to think into existence, right? There's an incredible intelligence to everything we're experiencing, even your body, even your organs in your body. Your mind is only a tool of this intelligence, but your consciousness is how will you use it? How will you use your incredible intelligence? Are you allowing yourself to listen to your heart, to listen what you need, to listen where you belong, to listen where you don't belong, to listen what you want to create, and to listen what's not for you anymore, what's outdated, where you're maybe not welcomed, so you can reinvest your time and energy into something that will build your life into a garden. Like the ancient saying goes, stop chasing butterflies, but rather take care of your garden and butterflies will come. They will come. But you need to prepare the garden, right? Plant some seeds. Take care of flowers. Nourish them. Nurture them. There's a painting I've created called The Dragon. You've seen that painting, but the whole story behind that painting is very, very interesting. I will actually play it to you right now, so enjoy in the process. The story of this painting, as you will see at the end of this video, is that firstly there are two pyramids, the upper pyramid and the lower pyramid. But you will notice that the lower pyramid is made out of a stone, and it's not well shaped. That's how you've been born. You've been born like a stone that through a free will and choice, you choose to shape yourself into something you wish to see, into something you wish to become, right? So you're like this stone that is shaping yourself, and you can be a victim of your circumstances and saying, oh, these things are shaping me into a version I don't want to be, but it's still your choice. Will you still allow these things to happen, or will you take yourself in control and decide who you want to become? And when you take this decision, you firstly need to understand, okay, this is who I want to be, this is what I want to become, this is who I am, this is what I'm capable of, these are my dreams, these are my desires, these are my visions. So we become aware of the higher top of that higher pyramid, which looks more like a golden perfect pyramid, which is a highest ideal of what this stone can become, right? So we need to have a vision of who we can become, of who we can be in this world. What qualities can we embody? Do we have clarity around our qualities? Because I've been just having a very, very beautiful conversation with someone who's working in school with kids. And she said, you know, all these kids, if you would notice their qualities, and if you hear them, see them, and really listen to them, you will notice these kids they all have a certain talent. They all have something they could master if older people, their parents, siblings, anyone would notice it, right? But sometimes we don't need outside people, external people to notice what we're good at. We need to notice for ourselves where we are thriving. And of course, through the process of conditioning, you've maybe forgotten what you're really good at. And maybe right now we are going maybe through a process of spiritual awakening where you want to invest more time into these aspects of you. I just want to remind you, pay attention to your qualities. Pay attention to where you want to become extraordinary. Because that's what the universe is the most excited about. It's the most excited about creating something incredible, something new, something new. That's what brings us a sense of adventure. It's the most excited about creating something new that can benefit its environment. That's why nature is always thriving. You can destroy nature, but if you will leave it there, at any condition, it will grow once again into beautiful things. Because nature knows that everything is about growth, renewal, and constant transformation. That's why nature is the greatest alchemist out there, right? And I feel inspired by that a lot. So you will see in that painting then, inside of that golden top pyramid, that ideal, there is a rose. Why there's a rose? Well, because you need to nourish the process of transformation. There's many people who are constantly striving towards creating something great or towards improvement, self-improvement, but they're just striving without self-nourishment, without self-care, without spiritual health and spiritual discipline. So they are constantly improving without ever feeling good enough, right? So make sure you don't fall into this trap, as some people call it, hustle culture. Doesn't matter what's the name, but the thing is, you need to nourish yourself while you're transforming yourself. Doesn't matter if you have what you want or don't have what you want, you have yourself, and that's everything you need at this moment. And you have God's source that's moving through you, expressing through you into anything you choose to create in your life. That's everything. That's everything. Everything else is an illusion of needs and wants. I want that, but it's not here, so I'm sad. It's because you haven't discovered how incredible you already are. And you need to nourish that incredible self by firstly seeing yourself. You see why kids are seeking attention? Because nobody notices who they truly are. Why you're seeking attention? Because you haven't noticed who you truly are. You want approval, you want more this, more that, more whatever. And you don't have that because you haven't discovered who you are. When you truly notice, this is where I want to evolve, this is where I want to become very, very, very good and skilled and talented and extraordinary, you will naturally evolve in that thing to such a degree that at some point you will start blooming. Right? You will start blooming, which means you will start sharing what you've learned. You will start giving around what life taught you through your unique experiences. And guess what happens? Well, people want to learn from you. They will pay for your service. They will be interested into whatever you're doing. Like, people are interested in my art. They are actually paying for my art because it's interesting. It happened through me. I actually haven't created it. It just happened through me. Me without the intelligence, without the wisdom, I'm nothing, I'm no one. But there is something that is expressing through me, so all these things can happen. and I just allow it to come through me. And I can only allow it to come through me by firstly noticing it within me, by seeing it and feeling it within me, by being aware that this is a very unique aspect of me and it's my choice to express it. And it takes courage sometimes to express what we feel. And it takes discipline to stay consistent, to evolve in it, right? It takes perseverance to evolve in it when mind and ego says nothing is working in my favor. Well, the universe says you're just not good enough yet. You just haven't evolved enough yet. Don't lose yourself in ego, because ego doesn't know what can actually happen if you stay true to it. Ego doesn't know. Ego just knows what you have and how to stay safe in what you have. But we all know change is the only constant. And by staying where we are, we decide not to change. And whoever decides not to change will stay where he or she is. But we can't stay where we are. We start the process of self-destruction. Because nature evolves or it dissolves, right? And we need to ask ourselves, do we want to evolve or do we want to dissolve, right? And both processes will eventually take us to the same destination, just that one will be more painful and another one will be inspiring. And I want to invite you into inspiration, to change through inspiration, to move forward through inspiration. Inspiration is not the same as motivation. Motivation is when we experience a glimpse of excitement for something. We've seen someone doing something or we've heard something that kind of motivated us. But then it's fleeting, it disappears. Inspiration means we've touched the spirit within. Something moved us to such a degree that we've got in contact with our own spirit. Like before I was painting, I was so deeply inspired by great artists. In music, for example, I love hip-hop, and I was so inspired by certain songs that it just moved me, and it reminded me I want to do something similar, not what they are doing, but I want to touch people's hearts the way they've touched me. I've noticed I want to be a part of this momentum where you're touching other people's hearts. And then life called me into painting, into art, into making this, and I've noticed we just need to allow. We need to notice what inspires us, what touches us with our own essence, so then we can see where could we express this essence so we could maybe give some of this higher energy to someone else. And this is a beautiful thing you can do, because you will start moving forward inspired rather than sad and lazy. Laziness is a sign of lack of connection. The awareness, like you are not being connected to yourself. As soon as you connect with yourself, I've noticed my higher self speaks to me in a language of demand. It's demanding, like you have to do this. This is necessary right now. You need to create this. And I only say yes to it. I only say yes to it. And then incredible things follow. That's why people notice it's unpleasant. It's unpleasant to follow your inspiration because it's, it's easier to be lazy. But laziness leads you into self-destruction, while inspiration leads you into self-construction. So that's why in this painting you're watching today, you see around this two pyramids, and inside it rows, which means you have to nourish your spirit, you have to build your spiritual discipline, which means that you find a sense of stability within yourself by knowing yourself. This is who I am. I'm not lowering my standards so other people would accept me or appreciate me. I'm staying who I am. I am who I am and who I can be, right? This is a definition of God in ancient texts, right? I am who I am and who I will be. And when you begin to understand what these words means, sometimes people write these words and say these words, but it doesn't mean they understand them. You only understand them when you truly figure out that you're nothing else but unexpressed potential. And when potential is not being expressed, it turns into pain. So pain, in other words, is unexpressed potential. So when you're in pain, and you may say, because of money I'm in pain, because of abuses I'm in pain, because of this I'm in pain. No, all these things happened because you haven't expressed your potential. Doesn't matter where you are. I've talked with people who've been homeless. I've talked with people who've been sexually abused and abused in all kinds of ways. I've talked with people who've lost their businesses and they've got to their next level. They got themselves to the next level. Why? Because they've started expressing what started calling them. They've started becoming extraordinary in these certain aspects because they've decided it's all a choice. Like a wise man once said, life is what happens between B and D, right? Between B and D there's C. B is birth, D is death, and C is choice. Life is what you choose and you experience what you've chosen, right? And this moment you can reset everything you've been doing and you can choose a greater life. And that's why there's a dragon around these two pyramids. What's a dragon? Well, again, if we go into ancient philosophies, dragon sometimes was explained as an evil spirit, an evil force. But then in other philosophies it was explained as a divine being, a divine creature that came to protect people. So why there are two different philosophies? Well, a dragon was a symbol of our emotions. When our emotions are not well understood, suppressed, and not well expressed, they may turn into evil forces. Like people who have a lot of uncontrolled anger and sadness and depression and don't understand it, don't talk about it. Well, they may embody some very destructive behaviors that may lead them into what people would describe as evil people. Look what he did, look what he did. Well, think about how he felt before he did something like that. It was a dragon that was untrained, misunderstood, not being seen, not being heard, like a little kid, right? If you don't see him, if you don't hear him, if you don't understand him, well, he may go into destructive directions. But then if you start listening to yourself, understanding yourself, expressing yourself, seeing for who you truly are, that dragon will start to feel safe. And then all your emotions, you as a dragon, your emotional self as a dragon, that spirit within you, will become quite creative. It will start moving in constructive directions. You will start moving in constructive directions. And you will begin to understand that your whole life was only preparing you to firstly, you can understand yourself. So you can understand and see and hear yourself for who you are, and then noticing with all these qualities that life kinda gave to you, how could you express them into something greater? How could you express what happened to you into something constructive that could maybe be of service to someone else? You never know where this will take you, but you can understand that it will take you to great places if you trust yourself, if you surrender to that bigger part of you that is not your ego, it's not your fear, it's not your shame, it's not your sadness, it's not your anger, it's not your frustration, it's not a sense of separation. It's spirit, it's God, it is inspiration. From sense of separation to a sense of inspiration, right? That's where you start evolving into a higher degree and you experience a sense of transcendence, right? You transcend your limitations into a higher potential. And I know we talk about potential a lot, like it's something common, but it's not common in the society. I don't see it as something common. I see a bunch of people who are just walking around on autopilot. And I want to see you following your heart, your inspiration, because there's something unexpressed within you. In ancient times they said, whatever you do, just make sure your fire doesn't burn out. your inner fire, make sure it doesn't burn out. And for that you need to nourish it. You need to make sure that it gets what it needs, that your voice gets what it needs. And only you can know that. Only you can know that. So my friends, I hope you found today's painting inspiring, interesting. It has a profound story to it. And this dragon of yours becomes your spirit guide when you start to nourish yourself and understand your emotional self. Become a scientist of your life, or you're experimenting with possibilities when it comes to building a great life and looking at your emotions as potential unexpressed, needs not being met, and care not maybe given to you. And maybe you will never receive what you always wanted, but you can always create something that will give others a sense of getting what they haven't received by anyone around them. And maybe that will then fulfill your needs that you always wanted to have, always wanted to experience. Maybe through an act of self-renewal and self-expression, you will come to the point you always wanted to be but had no idea how to get there. Maybe this process will actually teach you who you truly are, and maybe your whole life you've been preparing for this. So maybe right now you're at this crucial point where you're about to bloom, and you need to choose this process and you need to allow yourself to bloom. Where do you truly want to get extraordinary? Where do you want to get extraordinary, my friend? Answer this. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and power. Thanks to everyone for supporting my art. You can get a piece of today's painting in our store, AttractPassion.com, or Etsy store, I Draw My Passion. Go there and check it out. And also thanks to everyone for joining our Patreon community. If you would love to support this channel and get access to some exclusive content, check it out. And till next time, one love.